Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. Today's guest is Sam Gardel. Now, Sam is a father, husband, business owner, and he played in the 2013 Rugby League World Cup for Italy. Now, Sam's an incredible man, and his story gives a great insight into the power of investing in yourself, acknowledging where you're at, but also deciding what you want from life. Sam came across the Man That Can project for our first Foundations workshop about 12 months, or just over 12 months ago, when he was hungover and feeling a bit under the weather on a Sunday, and one of the ads popped up and he realized, this is a great opportunity to start creating some change. And ever since then, he's really worked out how to combine all of his passions and his love. So from being, as I mentioned, business owner, father, husband, and playing sport and doing all those things, and to really allow them to coincide so he has a life that is fulfilled and he's improving all of those areas. So we talk about obviously the power of communication, alcohol, the temptation of having alcohol around you all the time, taking shortcuts, why and when there is a time and place for certain things, and then 5 things that things that he focuses on, like 5 things he's done well for the day, and the power of voicing what he is thinking. So it's a powerful episode. And remember, if you're a first-time listener, or if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and share these episodes. It means a great deal. And before we dive in, I just want to remind you guys of the workshops and programs that we have coming up. So for those based in Brisbane, we have a Foundations workshop coming up on the 10th of April. All right. And we'll have a few more rolling out throughout the year. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And for all our listeners around the world that want to be a part of one of our programs, check out the Inner Circle program. You can find out more information on www.themanthatcanproject.com/inner circle. So I look forward to connecting with you guys there and seeing you create massive momentum in your life. Let's dive into the episode.
You're listening to the Man That Can Project with Lachie Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to the Man That Can Project.
All right, gents, welcome back to another episode of the Man That Can Project podcast. I'm Lachie Stuart, and I'm the host and founder, and I've got a great mate, a very inspirational, that's a new word, inspirational man, Sam Gardel. He's a business owner, father, husband, mate, footy player. You even played in was it 2013 World Cup?
Yeah, correct.
I should have fact-checked that, but you played for Italy. The Italian stallion is across the bench from me, which is pretty exciting. I know bringing that into today's topic, well, topic is not even a topic discussion, but how you really have always played all those roles in your life. And I know a lot of men play certain roles in their life, but how you've managed to get them all together is pretty inspiring, and it's why I really wanted to have you on the show. But before we do, how you going, mate?
Yeah, doing well, Lachie. Keeping pretty busy at the moment, as you know. Everything's going well in life at the moment, so enjoying it.
What's currently keeping you busy at the moment?
My electrical contracting business is really pumping along at the moment. So, and the whole sort of construction industry in Brisbane's going pretty hard. So, getting more guys is proving to be a bit of a challenge at the moment. But it's a good problem to have, being too busy. So I can't complain too much.
Definitely. Do you have a process that you go through to find the right people, or you're sort of just taking anyone?
I try to just usually employ people that are more trying to employ the person rather than reading their credentials too much.
Yep.
I generally like to have a fairly relaxed catch up. I don't ask like a million interview questions. I try to just use my gut as the relying factor. It's been probably 70% strike rate. So
it's not bad, mate.
Not too bad. Yeah.
It's a good gut. That's a real good gut. So take us back, mate. So I guess what I'd love to learn more about from yourself, but also give to the audience is, I guess, a moment in your life that really shaped you into the man you are today. And then we can sort of talk more about how you got there and what that process was like.
Yep. So I've always been fairly active and, always been tried to achieve as much as I could. So having drive and whatever else has never been too much of an issue for me, but probably taking on more than I can handle and biting off more than I can chew is probably what's got me into a few predicaments over the years. By starting a business when I was quite young, as well as playing semi-professional rugby league, having a young family, I suppose the defining moment for me with all those things considered was when I realised that I can't keep living the way I was living. Drinking too much, not being present at home, and that all sort of didn't really come to a head. But if I'd have left it any longer, I think it would have. So I'm glad I sort of caught myself on that, and that's when I stumbled upon the Man That Can.
How did it was a Facebook ad or something? Hey?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was hungover as hell one Sunday. And doing as I do when I was hung and just sitting on Facebook or whatever, just having a flick around, and I saw your ugly mug come up and talk about men repeating behaviours or something like that. And I'm glad I stumbled across it because it definitely struck a chord with me. We're both very similar with our sporting backgrounds and drinking backgrounds, and something about you sort of struck me, and then I looked into it a bit more and then did the foundations workshop with you, ever since there I've just been trying to take everything that I can learn from everyone in my stride. And whilst I was intelligent in other areas, I wasn't all that intelligent with communication and my involvements around alcohol and stuff. So that was where I've definitely picked up my act a bit.
Yeah, I know communication's been a massive one for you. Like, I think for even coming from the rugby background, it's never the culture that I grew up in as well. Around that, communication's not really a strong suit. It's generally rinse and repeat. You go drink, try and get a bird, and repeat the same thing week in, week out. But no one ever really talks much about anything else. And obviously as a business owner, I imagine, how was your communication at work? Was it?
Yeah, my communication at work hasn't been great in the past either, and still sometimes isn't the best. When you get busy, you tend to just shovel things away that you don't really want to talk about or deal with. So I'm definitely getting better at ripping off those Band-Aids and sort of tackling tasks or problems as they come, instead of pushing them away or hoping they'll go away, because that obviously leads to anxiety issues as well. If you've got a backlog of problems that you're just sort of pushing away to the side and hoping they don't come back around and get you, will leave you walking around pretty worried. So I try to put everything to rest as I come across it.
What about I guess the communication? Is that sort of how you took it in relationships, mateships and stuff as well, where you sort of had that bearing approach when there was stuff that you didn't really want to talk about and moments like that? Yeah,
definitely with my relationship with my wife as well. Probably, coming home from work with the shits is like a pretty common Aussie bloke thing to do. So I definitely carried that home a lot, and then would either have a few cans and sort of just stick my head in my phone, or not really communicate. And I suppose it has that effect on your partner as well, that they start to do the same thing and then you're just both not talking. So, over the last year or so, we've definitely gotten better with that, a bit of open communication and trying to go back to the sitting at the table and stuff like that and talking and with dinner, and it's definitely worked, but I wouldn't say we're 1,000% with it yet, but it's something that we're working on and mindful of anyway. So, and it's great for our daughter to see us talking, and now she's just started school, so it's very handy to be able to try and get a bit of info out of her from school because she doesn't like giving it up too easy. So once we get her talking, we get her on a bit of a roll and then, have a bit of fun with it. So.
That's true. And you touch on a good point. Like, you're always going to be a role model for someone else. It's actually my Instagram post tonight, mate. So stay tuned for that one.
Boom.
That's for sure. But going back to alcohol, like Baron, when you didn't feel like having those conversations, because this is once again a very typical Aussie way of dealing with things. I think maybe even just a manly, quote unquote, but way of dealing with things is we turn to alcohol or maybe drugs or fucking pornography, pokies, all that sort of stuff as a way to sort of put our head in the sand and I guess escape from reality. For you, what, and knowing what you know now, looking back, because you just came off 6 weeks off the piss as well, right?
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But knowing what you know now, why do you feel you sort of lent on the alcohol in that way?
Yeah, I think it like gives you a quick signal to switch off as well. Like with the drinking during the week, for me, it was never like I was always responsible still. I wasn't getting spastic and then not showing up to work and stuff like that. So it wasn't like alcoholic in the term of writing yourself off and not showing up for work the next day. It was more just the signal of, take 2 beers in my hand and take the dogs over the road to the park sort of thing. And that had sort of switched me off. And then having a couple more beers when I got home, whatever. But that'd be it sort of Monday to Friday. And then, but I think what I found with that was sort of my signal, and then it would make me really keen by Friday afternoon to have more than 4 or 5. I think if you're drinking, consistently every day, it makes you start to look to it every day, and you find yourself. I found myself getting really impatient, or when I was on the tools and I was drinking every day after work, you find yourself sort of taking shortcuts to get to the end of the day quicker, so you could have that beer. So, just my idea around not drinking for 6 weeks, I've done it twice now, is just to break that relationship and that of having to associate alcohol with everything, which is something that most Aussie men do. Like play golf, you have a beer, go fishing, you have beers, go to the beach, you'll pack a little 6-pack esky.
Wake up, have a beer.
But catch up with a mate. You're not catching up at 10 a.m. to have a coffee generally, except for a few of the circles that I'm in now, which is more about that and having better conversations instead of catching up at a mate's place for a Friday afternoon beer after work, which sounds like it's not very sinister, but it can turn into midnight watching the Sha Tin horse races. So,
jeez. Yeah, it's true though, and you sort of touched on the temptation of doing it daily. It builds up for a big weekend. Like anything that we focus on enough, we get excited to do. It's just human nature. It's what we focus on grows. So the fact that you've got even beers in the fridge, things like that is a good indicator that you're probably going to cave, because we only have so much willpower, and if you've used it all at work for the day, and you come home, or even if I know another big common thing for me back in the day was like my anger and aggression, and you'd be trying to be calm all day around your boss or whatever, and then you just come home and fucking flip out because all your willpower's gone. So it's about, essentially doing what you've done now with the 6 weeks, having those circuit breakers to put yourself back in the driver's seat of, showing yourself what's possible. When you had the 6 weeks off, were there any benefits that you noticed for yourself?
I noticed my sleep was really good quality. So there was some times there where I was only getting 6 to 6.5 hours a night, but still feeling pretty fresh the next day. I had a few times there where I was actually pretty miserable from not drinking as well, like sitting at my daughter's 5th birthday party and packing an esky for my mates to come over and have a few beers and stuff. And I feel like that's a time where it does have a definite time and place where you're having friends over, you have a bit of fun and whatever else. And I just sort of felt like I was more letting them down rather than letting myself down because I was being a bit miserable because they were all having beers and I wasn't. So, FOMO. But yeah, that didn't happen too much. I find once you get past sort of 2 weeks of not drinking, then it's almost easy. Like I could have kept going if I wanted to. But I did my 6 weeks and raised a good amount of money through my business for TX as well, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Do you want to give TX a quick plug?
This is a conversation starter. It's an initiative by Trademark. So, yeah, that's a text line for tradies and blue-collar workers. Can reach out to them anytime via text or a phone call and they'll get in contact with you.
Yeah, it's an awesome foundation. And the boys are doing great things as well. But even going back to that, like there is sort of a time and place with everything. And I think this is probably going to get into how much I've seen you grow since we first met at the Foundations workshop. And, you've gone on to do, I get to speak to you every week, which is awesome. So seeing how much you've improved your business, your relationship, being present in certain areas of your life, even your physical health, like cracking back into the footy. Well, you've been doing that anyway, but coming in fitter is awesome because you've really started to take ownership for all areas of your life and not just individually, not just saying, right, I can focus on this and everything else has to go behind and I'll worry about that at the end of the footy season or whatever. You're really balancing things well and you're learning to, I guess, get more organised, but you're really taking responsibility for where things are at to ultimately improve them. But I guess where was I even going to go with that? I can't remember. Organisation. Let's dive into organisation. It'll come back to me in a moment.
No, that's all right. So, yeah, I think with my organisation piece is just using a calendar and using my calendar to preempt all the set things. Like I have my gym times in there. I've got the days where I got to drop my daughter at school in there, and then obviously all my work stuff sort of lands in between that. And by doing that creates a bit of space and removes some worry because that's something that I always worried about was booking things on top of things or missing meetings or whatever else. And now that's one less thing I have to worry about because I'm pretty strict with my calendar. Like I would have dead set not shown up to this podcast a year ago. I would have forgotten about it. So that calendar management and organisation has given me removed one less worry from my life. The other thing that has helped me greatly has been email management, which I knew nothing about. Being a tradie turned business owner, you just wing it. I had used to have 1,500 emails in my inbox and not a single folder to be seen. And then my office manager set up my email accounts for me and sorted all my emails, and now I stay on top of it daily. And just that alone removes so much worry as well about forgetting something or whatever. And then just learning a few things on my phone as well, like pinning text messages. Like, it's only a fairly new thing, I think, on iPhone.
So they're up the top there?
Yeah, so because people still have my number from years ago and don't email me or anything. They might be trying to book a job in or something, and I usually get back to them and tell them the right way to do it from now on. But until that happens, I just sort of pin those messages and then get back to them. So that, because I'm a perennial reader and then don't do anything about it. So, that's sort of my system.
That's a brilliant, because you can't unread a text message, hey?
Yeah, I know, which does my head in a bit. So you might be able to now, though, I think.
The pinning idea is brilliant.
Yeah, so I pin my messages that I still need to action at the top, and that
That's brilliant.
Helps remove another stressor for me. And all those sort of stresses come back to letting people down or people ringing me up, blowing up because I've said I was going to be somewhere and not showing up, or, said I was going to get a quote back to them and I completely forgot about it or whatever. And those things really sort of used to wear on me a lot. So it wasn't so much letting myself down, it was letting other people down, and then I'd, sort of get a bit down about that.
It's interesting with that, though, because I'm fairly similar to you. I hate that iPhones don't have an unread button, but then when like people are trying to book appointments with you, and this is probably my lack of, I use a handwritten diary and also my phone. So I'm always like, I want to double check before I confirm something. But then obviously as the day goes on and you get more emails or more calls, I forget to get back to people, and it's fucking frustrating. So if I can find a platform, or I should probably just go to one diary, would work better to make it more efficient. But the organisation is definitely something that allows us to fit all of that sort of stuff in. But going back to time and place, this is where I was going before I lost my train of thought. And he was talking about, there's a time and a place to have a beer or have a coffee and stuff like that. Because I am the same. Like there's moments in where you catch up with your mates, or you might go camping, and if you've committed to not drinking, but like for me, doesn't make the experience, but it enhances it in certain emotions. And I, like to think that I'm fairly controlled with my alcohol use or anything like that, where I can have a few and enjoy it and, have a good yarn. So I think, and you're proving to yourself now that you can, do everything in moderation rather than back in the day, maybe where it was just like, let's party, let's end up till 2 a.m. So finding that time and place to regulate your alcohol use, so you're not always thinking about beer, but you're essentially not married to the idea. If an afternoon comes up where you want to go for a beer, you can, but you also know you got enough willpower, or you've got the next day planned out, so you know what you're working towards. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that was one that we spoke about as well. Was I've often book in things early morning for Sunday mornings, so that Saturdays they're like you're looking forward to what you're doing Sunday morning rather than just sitting around bored. Sitting around bored on a Saturday afternoon is another killer for me as well. So that I try to keep myself busy on the weekends, and that sort of definitely helps manage the alcohol intake as well. So, but I'll have footy starting shortly, so that'll have me
interesting to
sorted.
see how you go with that. But that's another point, is making sure that you do always have things to get done. And, I've done multiple webinars on planning your time, and it's something that I talk about with you, because so many people, and especially when we're looking at the 8 areas, people may be focused on, let's say 2 to 3 out of the 8, and they never improve any other element of their life, and they go, I just don't have time. Yep. So if you can go back to actually making times, there's going to have to be sacrifices made to fit that in. But, if you're lazing around on a Saturday afternoon and, one of your goals is to improve, something that you could be reading about, or you could be attending a course, or you could be going to a networking event, then that's just wasted time. So it's Jocko Willink talks about, discipline equals freedom, or whatever his quote is around that. And discipline is managing your time. People think it's crazy how much I manage my time, and probably how much you manage your time as well, but it allows you to get all the things done that you get done. It allows you to be an incredible business owner, father, husband, play footy at the same time, make time to come jump on podcasts like this without, I guess, too much backlash, which is awesome. But from yourself with the organisation thing, like what has been probably the main thing that's come off the back of that for your main benefit of taking the time to sort that element out?
Yeah, so just by slowing down a bit and creating more space for myself enabled me to see things within my life and business as well a lot clearer, and make better decisions around that, instead of getting on the hamster wheel and just going harder and harder until you collapse or go on a 3-day bender or whatever comes of that. So look, my time management still isn't great. So the times when I do have sort of blocked in there for work, or I still allow a lot of people to steal my time from me, and that's something that I need to keep working on, where I'm helping people that probably shouldn't need my help if I would organise things a bit better, which is what we spoke about a bit yesterday. You were talking about operating systems and stuff like that. So if I put a bit more groundwork into explaining things, then I'll probably get a bit more time back as well. So, yeah, that's something that I'm definitely looking to work on moving forward.
It's cool, though, what I just picked up from you there as well. You're still taking responsibility rather than saying, I've got terrible employees or this isn't getting done because of that. Rather than being at the effect of everything, you're taking responsibility, saying I should have better systems and processes in place for your staff or whatever to follow so that they don't need to keep reaching out to you, which is something that we did speak about yesterday. But also, I guess, jumping back to slowing down, like for yourself. And, if for those who haven't met Sammy, or if you're watching the YouTube, or if you see him, obviously he played for Italy in the World Cup. He's a big fucking rugby league player. And when I look at, when I first met you, I wouldn't have picked you, and this is an assumption, this is why I shouldn't assume, guys, that you would be into growing and now mindfulness and stuff like that. So I know there'd be a lot of people on the paddock that would look up to you from what you've achieved from a football side of things. So how do you feel with, your experience with getting into mindfulness for those who play rugby and maybe think it's for hippies in Byron Bay or whatever? Like, what benefits have you gained from, you've done meditation, you've done journaling, you're reading a ton now. Like, what benefits have you experienced from that?
I think the first one I'll take away from that was the journaling. So I'm currently not doing that at the moment, and I need to get back into it because it was something that definitely helped me find some really big realizations when I was doing it. I was using a diary called the High Performance Planner, and
I'll give you one.
You got a few there. I bought a few in bulk too, and didn't quite get through them. But I really encourage people to give that a go. It can get a little bit repetitive after a while, but don't do what I did and put it down altogether. I think maybe just going to a basic system that you use, just using a notepad or something like that is probably a great way. I don't think I'd done affirmations or, written down what I'm good at or what I'm doing well or what I'm not doing so well for probably 3 or 4 months until I did it the other day with you at our men's huddle.
Yep.
And then, I felt pretty pumped up straight away afterwards after I'd sort of written down what I'd achieved. And, sometimes every now and then if I've had a bit of a shit day or whatever, I can catch myself starting to, get a bit down in the dumps or whatever, or if something goes wrong at work and I'm thinking, oh, fuck, would I even have a business sort of thing? And then I look back at where I was and where the business was in January last year and then have a look at where we are in February this year. And if I multiply that out by 5 years and have a look at where I'll be in 5 years' time, it's pretty astronomical as to what I can achieve. So, I've definitely caught myself a few times, and it's all, gaining more knowledge and everything like that is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. Like if you do an 8-week challenge, you're going to get fit and lose weight, but most people don't do anything with it moving forward. So I've been trying not to bite off too much cake with everything I do and just try and go for the consistent route, which seems to be working. And then for meditation, I've struggled a little bit with that. I got into it for a few weeks consistently, but now I've just been using more the sleep meditations at night.
With
it's
Matthew
a bit of
McConaughey?
Yeah. All right. It's a bit of a lazy approach to meditation. I don't think it's really the correct approach, but I do sleep like a log after I do it. So if there's any benefit, there is a bit of benefit there. And then I think so I was journaling, mindfulness and meditation. So the mindfulness, I suppose, is just an ongoing thing, maybe thinking about how other people might be seeing a situation or feeling. And, how I could maybe help them break through something. So I've put in a lot of work in myself over the last 12 months, but also into my employees, and the business is reaping massive benefit from that. And any other business owners out there, I strongly encourage putting a employee performance sort of program in place where you may fund a bit of help or whatever for not only the people that may need it urgently, but also those that are already going good that could be going better, because it's working well for us at the moment.
It's one of the best, I believe, the best investments. I can't remember who, some successful billionaire, it might have been Jay Abraham or someone, was talking about, as a CEO, you should be investing and building great relationships with the management level, because they're the ones who are out dealing with maybe the employees under that who deal with the customer or deal with the product and service. So without them thriving, your whole company doesn't thrive. So I think that's one thing you do really, really well as well, leading by example. And you're definitely not proud enough to admit when you've made mistakes as well, which I think is awesome, because there are a lot of people out there who don't do that, and their employees are just going, fuck, man, like, we need to have this conversation, but they're too proud to have those conversations. So the fact that you're prepared to have the tough conversations with your staff is awesome as well. But one thing you mentioned before was like you still have self-doubt on days, and if you aren't, I guess, practicing in certain things, but obviously, there's people who hold themselves back from ever taking any risks or chasing what they want because of self-doubt. And, you have a business, you have a family, you play footy, you do all these, you're juggling all these hats, and yet you still have days where there's self-doubt, but you don't let that stop you. Why is that? Or how do you sort of work through it?
Yeah, like it's, I'll work through that by looking back at what I've achieved and how far I've come, and also by just trying to write down, 5 things you're doing well at the moment and maybe 5 things you could improve on, and sort of your biggest problem or your biggest fear is sometimes pretty quickly diminished once you break it down into bite-sized pieces. So I suppose that's sort of how I try to look at things, and sometimes I mull over things for days and doubt what I'm doing is right and whatever else, and then eventually I just pull the trigger. So and then other times I'll make pretty quick and bold decisions without, it just depends where I'm at the time. So it is hard to think that it may appear like I'm really confident and whatever else with what I'm doing with my business and everything, but there's every day where I have doubts. So still need to bounce it off some other knowledgeable heads sometimes, or even off an employee that may not even be in the management team or whatever, and get some feedback off them, and use a sounding board, which is what I do a lot of. Voice what I'm thinking about, and people will usually help out.
Voice what you're thinking is a powerful thing, just like journaling. Like as soon as you generally get it out of your head, you can start to make more sense of it. And a lot of us stay in our head too long, and we know how dangerous that can be, especially when you're on a downward spiral, or you're focusing on the doubt that creates the anxiety or the sadness in your life. So definitely having that environment, but that ties it into creating that good, solid community around you. Has your, I guess, environment changed much over the past 12 months, or is there even like the engagement that you had with your old environment?
I think I was probably dragging a lot of people into my environment, so I've probably improved my immediate environment a fair bit. Like some of my friends have sort of come along on a bit of a journey themselves, and I probably was dragging down my employees harder than they were dragging down themselves, because they were my immediate sort of people that I'd be dragging into getting on the piss with and whatever else. So, by improving my relationship with alcohol and my relationship with with how I communicated with them and everything like that has lifted their standards, and they're all going really well at the moment. And then I suppose that's on a social sense, but then with a work environment and a bit more of a professional sense or development sense, like there's being like just at the gym, for example, like you can be sitting in the sauna or whatever and end up having a pretty great chat with someone you've never even spoken to before. And probably, 12 months ago, I probably would have just, if I was even there, would have probably just had headphones on and been pretty closed off. But yeah, if someone's keen to have a chat, I'll have a chat. So I suppose I've found that a lot. Like hanging around more people that are open to talk brings out better conversation for everyone.
100%. And you never know what you're going to learn from the people as well. Like everyone's an expert in something that we're not, essentially, which is brilliant. But you moving forward, like over the next sort of 12 to 24 months, what are some sort of key things that you've got set in place or you really want to improve upon both professionally and personally?
Yeah, so one of my main things I've been working on over the last 12 months is to change the dynamic of my business from being an oversized sole trader to being a business that can essentially run without me.
Yep.
Not that I want it to run without me or need it to run without me. It's more just that I don't think it's called a business if it relies on one person.
Yep.
And at the moment, if two of the people, myself and one other person, were to drop dead or leave, then the business would have to close the doors, basically. So my goal has been to get the business to a point where it can be run by, like you said yesterday, with your operating procedures and stuff like that. That's something that I'm definitely working towards, and creating more space for myself so I can be, at my daughter's sports day and stuff like that. So that's, the kind of things that drive me to work towards is being able to be that dad that is around at the sports days and not just hanging off his phone the whole time because he's getting hammered by all his employees or whatever. So that's what I'm working towards in the next 12 to 24 months.
I think that's cool that you know it's possible and you believe it's possible, because for a lot of people, and maybe a lot of people listening to this, and obviously we're all at different situations in our life, but to think that was ever possible for me even 7 years ago was like a pipe dream. It was like you had to either win the lottery or have a good win on the horses. But the fact that like through hard work and, obviously there's a lot of challenges and struggles through that process, but you can put that into place. And I think that's available to everyone, right? Whether it is as an oversized sole trader, that just gives you a bit more flexibility in your life and you can stop and start work, or so if where you're at, where you want to get your business so systemized that it can run without you, just so you have the choice to be able to go to your daughter's sports carnivals and stuff like that. I think that's really highlights the importance of, and one of the things that I was talking about today was like to create your dream life is casting that vision and then working out what skills need to be learned, what networks you need to be a part of, and everything else that's going to allow you to achieve that. And you're definitely well on the way to doing that, which is inspiring. But then what about personally? Is there any other key sort of like communication that you're still trying to improve on or anything like that?
Yeah, so definitely need to work on my communication and probably my patience a bit with my daughter. I've gotten a lot better, but I know it's been a long time since I've been a 5-year-old. So it's, you sort of forget like if you're trying to teach them how to ride a bike or something, that it is super scary for them, and a few pedals or whatever is a good achievement. And I'm kind of get stuck in like, well, come and do a wheel stand, like I've just got to remind myself sometimes that she's learning, and I don't know, I just get impatient with it. And like when she's at swimming, sometimes she'll be like kicking like a champion, then 2 minutes later she'll just be like a big sinker. And it's just like, well, which one? Like, you just get real confused as to why they're not performing, sort of thing. So, and it's not like I'm like overruling Dad, like getting cranky because she's not swimming well. It's just I get frustrated that it's like
1 minute you can,
and the next minute you can't, sort of thing. So, just working on my patience and teaching my daughter stuff, and then my communication with my wife could definitely improve. And then with my my fitness goals and stuff like that, everything's going pretty well. In that regard, it's just become habit now to go to the gym. I think I'll be a consistent sort of gym attendee for a long time. Whether I just go there and sit in the sauna or not, I don't know. But
mate, well, now the new massage chairs, you'll be hooked. We'll see you in there overnight.
Yeah. So, I've not got much else that I can think about at the minute.
Yeah, I was thinking, as you were saying, with your daughter, like I just finished Obstacle is Away this morning, book by Ryan Halliday, and he was talking about like one of the Stoics. I don't think it was Marcus Aurelius, but one of them was saying like we're so busy to want to keep moving through life. So we have all these things that we're working towards. Even like the podcast, for example, I've been excited to do it all day, but then some moments you're like, right, what am I doing for dinner, or this, that, and the other, and we try to speed everything up. And they use the example in the book of when you're trying to tuck your kids in bed and you're like, come on, get into bed. I got to go. And it's like, are you missing this moment because you want to, go watch a fucking television program that, you can always watch again, but you never get those moments in time back. Like, that you see a lot of parents trying to get time back with their kids, and their kids are going off to do other things. So, really making sure that we learn to be present and enjoy each moment and just slow down through it and take it for what it is. Like for me, it was really insightful, and for those who've read it, you'll know what it goes into then after that, or your mortality, and gets you really thinking about how busy we make ourselves for.
Yeah, well, I think I told you this one, or talked to you about this one, but busy equals lazy. I love it. Like,
elaborate it for us.
It's 100% true. I can't remember what book it was from, but it's I read it not too long ago. Anyhow.
I think you were on Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, so busy equals lazy. So if you're busy all the time, it means that you're underprepared, which is why you're busy, which means you're lazy. So at the moment, if you ask me how I'm going, I'll say I'm busy as fuck at the moment.
So you're lazy as
which means I've been lazy somewhere along the line because I haven't put the right. I've got plenty of systems in place, but I haven't put enough systems or the right systems in place, or I haven't made the right decisions or pulled the right Band-Aid off, which is why I'm currently so busy. So, it's a great way to turn it back around on yourself and have a look as to why you are so busy.
It's interesting, mate, because I'm the same, and I like to then justify it by saying I'm being productive, but how you just said it, like I definitely don't have the right systems in place, and there's a lot of procedures missing. I was talking with, this is probably going to end up being a business podcast, but I was talking to Darren the other day just around like how, the stages you go through business or just in life, from being an employee to potentially a sole trader to a manager, where it's like you're trying to run your business, but you're also trying to get all your systems and processes in place so you can have people to do it. And once you get through that, that's when you really get to that point where you're obviously wanting to get to where it is a business and it can run without you, so that you free up time to do other things. And one thing that I've been very mindful of, and I was actually speaking to Jeremy about it before, is, even after this, because Amy's out tonight, I'm like, sweet, I've got 3 hours to work on my SOPs and fly through all of that stuff. But then it's also, I've committed to reading more and, taking downtime. So you got to make sure you're not neglecting that, because chances are after this, I've been talking to people all day and my brain's going to be cooked. So as much as I might sit here and try and bash it out, I'm not going to be that productive anyway. So it's trying to find that fine line or getting the right help to help you with that sort of stuff. That's for sure. But yeah, final question, or two questions. Didn't prepare you for this one. No, this one's an easy one. where can people find you on? So, first of all, can people reach out to you on socials?
Yeah, look, I don't know how much how much quality I'll be able to give to anyone. I'm not a dietitian or a psychiatrist or anything along those lines, but
even if they want a sauna chat with you, man,
if someone wants a sauna chat, I'm down for that. Or any advice on how to fuck up a business and then fix it, and then fuck it and fix it a few times over, and how not to do that. I can definitely give you some advice around that, especially in the trade-based space. I'm fairly well in touch with operating systems and business structure and stuff like that due to my own experiences. So I can definitely help guide people with that. If anyone wants to reach out, just Sam Gardel on Facebook. There's not too many Gardels in Australia, so it shouldn't be too hard to find me.
Italian stallion.
That's it.
And your business, for those who want to get some solar done and everything like that.
No, I'm too busy. No, get on board. Gardel Electrical Services, based in East Brisbane. We specialise in commercial solar and also do residential solar systems.
Epic. So I'm going to throw in another question. What is one bit of advice you would give to your 18-year-old self?
All right.
Stumped.
Yeah, you got me a little bit.
Keeper.
You got me a little stumped here. 18-year-old self, I would say get out, have fun, live life, experience different things, live in a different country, and don't be afraid to start working on yourself from a young age, because you don't get taught too much in school other than maths.
Yeah, which I still don't remember.
Yeah.
And finally, your definition of being a man.
All right. My definition of being a man is being bold enough to stand up for yourself and what you believe in, yet vulnerable enough to ask for guidance when you need it. Ba-dum.
That is like poetry. That is fantastic. So bold enough. Hit me again with it. Can you?
So it's bold enough to stand up for yourself and what you believe in, yet vulnerable enough to ask for guidance when you need it.
That is awesome.
Do you want to trademark?
Yeah, can we? That is quality. I think that's a great one to live by, and I think that it's actually something that everyone can relate to or resonate to and step into, because obviously, from where you've started to all the experiences and mistakes that you've made to the successes that you've had, wouldn't have happened if you didn't take action and obviously start taking responsibility and were, I guess, vulnerable enough to click on an ad from a random dude. Once again, I look like an Italian stallion too.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It's like looking in the mirror. But to reach out. So there's a lot of people who listen to this who, get a lot of value from this, but they're not quite sure where to take action. And I'm not saying I'm not the Man That Can project's not the right fit for everyone, but make sure when you do find something you feel is going to add value to your life, whether it's a book, it's a podcast, it might be going to a networking event, or even doing one of our events, like whatever feels right for you, definitely take that step, because that's going to be that first moment. Like I've mentioned many times, for me, mine was going to that event in 2014, which cost me $25. It opened my eyes to a whole new way of living. So for those of you who feel stuck, then Sam's the perfect example of, obviously, how much you can transform your life, obviously, over putting some hard work in and being prepared to step up and put the work in. But mate, thanks for coming on. I've taken a heap out of that. Gents, remember, like, share, subscribe, and please, if you have an extra 90 seconds, take some time to leave a review. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachie Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.